persons other than city officials and essential employees from being physically present. The public may view this meeting, submit comments on an item on this agenda, or submit a public comment through the Zoom webinar meeting. Please click on the Q&A icon in the Zoom meeting screen to submit the public comment. Public comments will be accepted until the conclusion of the public hearing on each item. Please make sure to include the item number or name in the comment. Comments will be limited to 300 words and will be entered into the official commission meeting record. Public comments are being accepted now. Please submit your comments as soon as possible. You do not need to wait until an item is called to submit a comment. Comments will be read during the meeting. Commissioners, if you have a question or comment, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized by the chair. Due to Zoom limitations, only one person may speak at a time. And tonight for our flag salute, we are going to go ahead and remain seated so that we're not all off screen when we do the salute. And I ask that everyone mute so that there's only one voice for the flag salute so that we are in sync. All right, right hand salute. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silence. All right. Laura, may we have roll call, please? Oh, Laura, you are muted.
All right. Commissioner Serco?
Present.
Commissioner Morose?
Present.
Commissioner Pollock-Rude?
Present.
And Commissioner Sotile?
Present.
All commissioners present.
Thank you. Welcome to the Elkhorn Planning Commission meeting. Appeals of final decisions of the Planning Commission that are made this evening must be filed in writing with the city clerk before 5 p.m. Friday, February 26, 2021, and must include the payment of a filing fee. Pursuant to City Council Resolution number 114-79, a commissioner who has received evidence related to a matter before the Planning Commission, other than an unescorted view of the subject property, is required to disclose such information at the hearing. At this time, we'll take comments from any member of the public on any item of business within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda. Under state law, no action can be taken on items brought forward under public comment, except to refer it to staff for administration or place it on a future agenda. And as I said previously, at any point that you have an item, a comment for public comment on the items on the agenda, you may put those in the Q&A section of the Zoom screen. This is the time for the public to address the commission by submitting their comments by Q&A in Zoom. We will go ahead and wait a few moments. And it currently looks like we have no questions or comments. All right, we will move on to the consent calendar. A single motion will cover all items on the consent calendar. Does the commission wish to pull an item from the consent calendar?
Oh, no, Mr. Chair.
All right. Does staff wish to pull a consent calendar item for discussion?
No, we do not.
All right. Then all we need is a motion and a vote.
I move to adopt.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Sotile, seconded by Commissioner Morose. Roll vote, please.
Commissioner Sotile?
Yes.
Commissioner Pollock-Rude?
Yes.
Commissioner Morose?
Yes.
And Commissioner Serco?
Yes.
All right. It's unanimous.
All right. We'll move on to our public hearing. The agenda item is number 2. Project name is North Johnson Energy Center Battery Storage. This is a request for an energy storage facility. It is CEQA exempt, and staff is recommending approval. Staff.
Hey, good evening. Okay, let's see. Okay, all right. The North Johnson Energy Center Battery Storage Facility. Let's see here. Conditional use permit 2019-0008. The proposed project located at 222 North Johnson Avenue would include a 2-phase 50 megawatt battery storage facility located within the same property as the existing peaker plant. The first phase would include placement of 32 batteries, storage containers, and a 10-foot tall screening fence within the existing parking lot. The second phase would include an additional 32 battery storage containers and the demolition of the existing commercial building and service structure. Each phase would account for 25 megawatts for the combined 50 megawatt facility. This would decrease the likelihood of a local power outage by providing frequent stability to the SDG&E system and will deliver power to help avoid blackouts. The property has a general plan designation of LI, light industrial, and a zoning designation of CM, heavy commercial light manufacturing. This is considered a utility use, therefore requires a conditional use permit. This is the aerial image of the property located on the corner of Benedict and North Johnson Avenues. The property to the west is a self-storage facility, and the property to the south is the SCG&E facility. The larger structure toward the center here is the peaker plant. While this is the existing building and accessory service structure. There we go. The site is approximately 2.21 acres in size and includes an existing 3,908 square foot building and 4,135 square foot structure. As mentioned, the site includes the operating peaker plant, which was approved in 2009 under conditional use permit 2100 and is surrounded with consistent land uses. There are no sensitive uses in the vicinity that would be impacted. So phase 1 would place the batteries within the existing parking spaces in front of the existing building, along with the screening fence placed approximately 24 feet away from the property line along Benedict and 28 feet away from the North Johnson property line. Phase 2 would remove the buildings and service structures. The site plan indicates the blue figures as the phase 1 battery storage containers, while the red indicates phase 2. There is an interconnecting driveway with entrance along Benedict and along North Johnson Avenue. The existing building and structure can be seen under the red containers, while the peaker plant is adjacent to the driveway. The battery equipment would be owned and operated by the applicant. And it would also be integrated into the existing SCG&E transmission line. It would include 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, remote monitoring, and the dimensions of the containers would depend on the vendor, although would not exceed the height of the screening fence, which is 10 feet. For example, the applicant provided a Tesla Megastack model that was used for the site plan, which has dimensions of approximately 23 feet in length, 5 feet in width, and 9 feet height. These plans were also reviewed and approved by Heartland Fire and Rescue's Hazardous Material Management Plan. Here's an image of the Tesla Megastack model that was used for the site plan. The elevations show the proposed corrugated screening fence to include matching colors to the existing site fencing, along with faux columns with lighting features. This along with improved landscaping to improve the appearance from North Johnson and Benedict. There is an existing wrought iron fence along the exterior of the property that will remain. The following images are of the site along the exterior, showing the existing wrought iron fencing, the landscaping, and red screening fence. This is a image from along North Johnson, and this is one along Benedict. As you can see, it still has the wrought iron fencing, landscaping, and a red screening fence. Thereby, staff recommends a CEQA Class 3 exemption and approval of conditional use permit number 2019-0008, subject to conditions.
Thank you. I have one question that I forgot to ask earlier. I was going to look up how much energy is a megawatt. We've got 50 megawatts of storage at a 49 megawatt peaker plant. When this is in operation, if we were to have a local blackout, that would supply our grid with energy for how many hours or how many households? Or maybe both, since they both play factors.
The amount, I'm not too familiar with the amount of energy that could last for. We've invited our applicant who can maybe elaborate and give us some more technical details on that.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Yeah, I have a quick question too. It doesn't replace the turbine that's there, correct? That turbine stays.
That's correct. It stays. It's kind of like an accessory to the peaker plant. What's
Great.
being removed is like the previously commercial building that has been occupied for a long time. That's really the thing that's being removed.
Great, because I believe there's two turbines over there now, correct?
I'm not familiar with the number of turbines, but I know the peaker plant's there and it's next to the SDG&E facility.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so this is adding storage to a production facility.
Yes.
Mr. Sotile.
What is a Class 3 exemption, Mr. Camacho?
It would be the new facilities under small structures. So we would have, it's a 15303. It's it covers structure. So this would be considered a structure facility because it's not there's no involvement of like a building or anything like that. It's really just placement of equipment with a screening fence.
But eventually there will be no buildings on that property whatsoever other than the batteries.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman Serco, just so you know, a megawatt can power about 650 houses.
650 houses for
Give or
an
take.
hour?
Let's take a look here. Kilowatt hour. I does not say here, but let's take a look here. I think that's annually. Could be wrong, but let me take a look here.
Well, I'll let the applicant answer as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully they know. All right. I think that's all the questions for staff from our commission. So let's go ahead and open up the public hearing. And staff, do we have, I want to say speaker cards, but we don't use speaker cards anymore.
We do not have any speaker cards, but if any of the members in attendance would like to raise their hands or indicate in the Q&A they'd like to speak, I can go ahead and unmute them. So I see Gary Franzen has indicated. Would you like me to allow him to speak?
Yes, please.
Okay, Gary, go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
We can hear you. Welcome.
All right. Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. Good evening, staff. Thank you for taking time out of your day, your evening to hear this proposal. Appreciate the time that you've spent on it this far. And we also have Mark Jurgensen and Craig Horn with our company that can offer more answers to questions if I don't cover them all. So Mr. Morose was correct in that, it's roughly 650 homes per megawatt. And the way to think about that is that that's an instantaneous load. It's not a duration answer. The way to think about duration is how long it's going to last. And so the systems that are being proposed for this site are 4-hour systems. So it's 50 megawatts that will last for 4 hours when completely built out. And the 4-hour system is key from a California Independent System Operator perspective, and that's what they regard as being necessary for resource adequacy. So 200 megawatt hours, 50 megawatts is the size of this particular system.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Franzen. Do any planning commissioners have additional questions for the applicant? No? All right. Thank you, Mr. Franzen. Are there any members of the public who have questions for the applicant or for the planning commission or for staff?
Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone indicating a desire to speak at this time.
I'm getting that feeling. Thank you. All right. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second that.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Serco, seconded by Commissioner Morose. Roll vote, please.
Commissioner Serco,
Yes.
Commissioner Morose,
Yes.
Commissioner Pollock-Rude,
Yes.
and Commissioner Sotile.
Yes.
Motion
All
is
right.
carried.
I'll vote.
Unanimous.
And the public hearing is now closed. We just recently, I think, asked most of our questions on the proposed facility for the East County Transitional Living Center. So this is more energy storage for our local area. And this is a good placement for this project. It's already on utility-owned property, already utilized for energy production. So having energy production and storage next to each other means transmission is going to be not a big deal. So this is another step forward for the city of El Cajon, and I think it's a good one. Any comments or discussion from the Planning Commission before we continue on?
None.
No, I agree.
All right. I will entertain a motion. Or I'll make a motion. I move to adopt the next resolution in order, approving the proposed CEQA exemption and conditional use permit number 2019-0008, subject to conditions.
I second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Serco, seconded by Commissioner Sotile. Roll vote, please.
Okay. Commissioner Sotile,
Yes.
Commissioner Pollock-Rude,
Yep.
Commissioner Morose,
Yes.
and Commissioner Serco.
Yes.
Motion carried 4-0.
All right. And since this is not moving on to the city council, anybody who wishes to make an appeal for this decision of the planning commission must make an appeal in file, must file an appeal in writing with the city clerk before 5 p.m. Friday, February 26, 2021. You must include the payment of a filing fee. And gentlemen, thank you for this project in El Cajon. We look forward to seeing it built out. All right, and I believe that's the last item of public hearings. Are there any items for consideration or staff communications?
Thank you, Chairman Serco. I do have a couple of items for staff communications. The first is I wanted to make the commission aware that the period of application for the vacancy on the Planning Commission has been extended to March 3rd at 5 p.m. The applications are available in the city clerk's office and also on our website. And so if you know of anyone who's interested and lives in El Cajon, please encourage them to apply. The second is I did want to do just a real brief update on projects under construction, under review in El Cajon. So hopefully y'all can see that pretty well. I'll go through it fairly quickly because I think some of these are pretty familiar to you. But those that we have under construction right now would be the Legacy Townhomes project, the 41 new townhomes on East Washington and South Anza. And that's moving along quite quickly. These are all recent pictures as of about a week and a half ago. The next is the Rocky Hill Point project, also out on East Washington. That's 26 new townhomes. They started to paint them and do the exterior work, and I do believe they have some of those units on the market. A new project for downtown is the Lexington Avenue Apartments at 235 East Lexington. If you haven't been by there recently, construction's going on quite rapidly there, and I think that's going to be a great addition to our downtown area. We also have the Wells project at 172 Wells, the 4 new townhomes under construction. And if you drive on the Interstate 8, anytime you see the new Mazda dealership going up there on Johnson Avenue. No new updates on the Main Street mixed use project. That project still has a building permit issued, and we're hoping to see the applicant start moving on that soon for that new 15 unit residential and 10,000 square feet of mixed use space. There's also a new industrial building going up at 850 West Bradley, part of an existing manufacturer. And then at 815 North 2nd, you may have noticed the old Green Apple Market was demolished and a new Starbucks is starting construction at that location. The second phase of the industrial project is getting ever closer. I think their building permits are just about ready to issue. So we should expect to see some movement on that second phase of that project. And then the Marshall Personal Storage project that you had the fortune of seeing twice come to the Planning Commission. They have building permits under review right now. That's for that new 60,000 square foot self-storage building. Another project that you'll soon see some new exterior improvements as well as quite a few interior improvements is the Lexington Senior Apartments project. That's a affordable housing senior project at 250 East Lexington. And there is a $9 million renovation project underway there to extend the life of that building and make some improvements and address some long deferred maintenance there. And then the Parkway Plaza self-storage, so in the basement level of Parkway Plaza Mall, that project is now under review on the building site as well. And then I did want to just bring up some of the projects that we have under review that will be coming before you would be the expansion of the St. Madeleine Sophie Center, the banquet hall at 1120 Broadway. We have some new townhouses proposed out on Oakdale and Durham, a new gas station at South Mollison, a mixed use conversion at 330 West Lexington, and some additional condominiums at 1369 East Main. There's also proposed 140,000 square foot distribution center with warehouse, office space, and parking on the vacant Weld and Cuyamaca property that's pending approval. And you will see back before you the Magnolia Heights project. So that's a planned residential development that'll be coming back to you as they look to add some additional units to that property. In addition, we have some other projects such as sort of a repurposed auto repair facility at 1316 Broadway, and the old Long John Silver restaurant at 270 Fletcher Parkway will soon be a new Mission Federal Bank. That project is pending final approval. And a new exciting project that we have is the first larger residential project out on El Cajon Boulevard within the Transit District specific plan. And they're proposing 116 new condominium townhomes. And that's at the site of the former Mossy VW dealership, which has been vacant for some time. So that concludes my project updates. Hopefully I didn't move through that too quickly. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to follow up on it.
I would love to get an email with that list of projects.
Yeah.
Since I live on Oakdale, I'm only aware of 2 vacant lots on Oakdale. One is the one where, yeah, I'm pointing in the right direction. The one where we had a project proposed and then the architect designer died, and so the project kind of stalled. But I'm guessing we're talking about Durham. That's the opposite end of Oakdale, where Oakdale doesn't quite go through to the next street and there's a vacant lot there.
Exactly.
Is that where?
That is where it is.
Is that the one that we approved a while back? Then I think the owner passed away. Is that lot you're referring to?
That was the other lot. So
Okay.
both ends of Oakdale have an empty lot.
Okay. Have they submitted drawings yet on the 300 unit project?
The 116
Yeah, excuse me, the
at
160.
300 El Cajon. They have submitted, for the site development plan permit and for the tentative subdivision map.
Okay. When can we see those? I'd love to see what that project looks like.
You'll be seeing them very soon.
Okay, good.
All right, any other questions for staff? Any commissioner reports or comments?
None?
All right, Mr. Sotile, would you like to make a motion?
I move to adjourn to March 2nd, 2021.
Second that.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Sotile, second by Commissioner Pollock-Rude. Roll vote.
All right. Commissioners Circo,
Yes.
Commissioner Moroz,
Yes.
Commissioner Sotile,
Yes.
and Commissioner Pollock-Rude.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
All
Very
right,
good.
we are adjourned at 7:31.
Okay.